We're here at Identity Week 2024. I'm joined now by Maharaj Mukherjee, who's Senior Vice President and Senior Architect Lead at the Bank of America. We're going to talk about all the identity developments across the sector in general, aren't we? First of all, what is the answer to modern authentication these days across the financial sector?
Okay, that's a great question, Evie. First of all, for record, I wanted to tell you that for this conversation, I'm just representing myself. I'm not representing my bank, because if you have a specific question for my employer, you have to go and ask them. But identity forms the core of the financial industry, or financial institution, bank, insurance, everything else. And we would like to make it easier, convenient for our customers customers in general, the users in general, to access their accounts. So no, there should not be any problems. But at the same time, they should also develop some kind of a trust that their savings, their money, their monetary instruments are all in good hands. It's always protected, and some perpetrators are not going to access it. And it's a bit difficult, as you can understand, in the realm of social media. People are always saying, hey, your account has been compromised, your personal information has been compromised. So digital identity in general is something people are going into, because you would easier. I can talk about the digital identity in general, but as a policy, that's the way everybody is looking into, because people would like to have their access to their instruments and money 24/7. Because previously it used to be okay when the bank opens 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, but now people are doing online payments, everything 24/7, and also this payment systems like what we are familiar with, whether it's Google Pay or Apple Pay or Zelle or Venmo. You have to make sure that when you are giving somebody the money, you are giving it's almost like a cash. So basically, you want to verify and make sure that it's going for the right purpose and everything. So in general, if you look into this whole landscape in the where digital identity is used, it is becoming more and more important, and I believe it's going to get more important in the future. Okay.
And in addition to digital identity, do you have a holistic approach? Are you using behavioral analytics, analyzing the interactions the user will have with your onboarding experience?
That's again a very great question. And identity, in a sense, is not previously in the golden age, or when you had trust, people can just trust a signature, and it used to be so simple. But now identity is meaning a lot of things to a lot of people. It's not just always it's a biometric, then informations, but in a holistic approach, it's always ultimately the job of establishing identity is the trust, that you trust whoever you are sending the money, and that there is a trust that you are who you are saying. Okay, establishing this trust. But there are other people who are saying that okay, we can possibly have a completely trustless transactions, but I believe our society is still not there to have a completely trustless system. Trust is establishing trust, and having some kind of a mental comfort based on that trust is something very important, and that's why having some holistic approach is very important for here. Okay.
Definitely. And on the user's end, the use of mobile devices to facilitate the identity experience. Do you see adoption growing for that?
That's a great question. Yes, definitely. I think most of the transactions I mentioned about payment systems, it's happening using the mobile device, and all the identifications are done into within using your mobile device, so whether it's a face recognition or fingerprint recognition, and eventually they will be, there are more other things will be incorporated on those things, okay? And there was a presentation I heard yesterday from Alaska Airlines. They are saying that, okay, they are going to use the mobile for mobile passports, and so use of mobile device is going to grow, but at the same time, as you are trying to make the life of the users convenient by using the mobile device, one has to think about broadly as to how that system can be misused. Also, if somebody gets hold of your mobile device, we need to make sure that if it goes into the wrong hand, it's still protected. People cannot use it. Okay, so those are the things one has to kind of make sure that again it's convenient, but at the same time we should not compromise the security. Okay.
Of course, and there's lots of data exchange between the customer and the banks. Do we have enough data exchange between private sector and banks, between banks?
Well, yeah. I mean, when we look into a financial organization in general, it's not always that we are or in any customer interaction for any organization. It's not always happening from an individual and a corporate. I mean, there are interactions happening in so many levels. Like there might be an organization to organization, B2B transactions. There might be an entity like a kind of a group of people. They form a non-profit or something, and that you have transactions with them. Okay, and each time both the establishing of the trust and the convenience and the establishing the identity and authenticity, they come into play, right? And so we need to kind of think a little bit broadly about the authenticity. And also one more thing I would like to talk about, Evie, is we always think, okay, it's a mobile device and we are using it for biometric or fingerprint, but there is beyond the mobile device, there are a lot of things happening beyond an IoT or edge device. There are a lot of computations, a lot of transactions happening, and we need to make sure not just your mobile device is secure for your transaction, it's also secure, the whole network is secure, made of all these IoT devices which are or sometimes grown organically, and so it's slightly more complex, but you can rest assured that there are technologists who are working on this all the time and thinking about how to make the whole thing secured and in this realm of IoT and edge computing platforms as well.
Thank you. We haven't touched on AI or biometrics yet. What challenges does AI, bring up, as well as the prospects of AI for biometrics?
Yes, a great question. Okay, first of all. AI itself has some challenges, okay? Like for example, if you're talking about the generative AI, and the generative AI requires working on specialized hardwares like GPUs, right? And GPUs are not easy to have. And then also we need technologists who are also working on this. So there are like people who understand the generative AI. Now, I mentioned about the edge computing. Now, edge computing and generative AI has a very kind of a symbiotic relationship, okay? Quite often, the challenges of the generative AI can be solved if we try to develop the generative AI using an edge computing platform rather than traditional platforms, because the computations have become simplified. Okay, and the applications in the edge computing of generative AI can be also very, easy. So in some way, they kind of dovetail into one another. Okay, but at the same time, there are issues of the generative AI which can plague the problems into the kind of application of those into banks and financial industries. But one of the problems is like hallucinations and stuff like that, inexplainability of the AI. Hallucination is, of course, some of the errors which we cannot explain, but the explainability of AI actually has been there for a much longer time. The problem even before we have all this generative AI and those platforms came in. How do we explain that AI kind of working in a black box? How can we explain those things? Then there are also, I'm kind of talking about all these three things together: hallucinations, generative AI, and another problem is the bias. Okay, because your AI models are as strong as your data, and if you have the data is not skewed towards somebody, some group or something, you cannot make a good decision. So those bias and other things can be, you have to figure out and you have to correct. So people always talk about deep fake and those things. I did not even touch those problems because I'm sure there are other people who will be talking. But the basic AI foundation and making it bias-free, error-free, and explainable, those things are also very big challenges which we should be also trying to solve. Okay?
And ongoing. Thank you so much for talking to me today.
Thank you, Evie. Thank you very much. Very nice talking to you.